Hello, YouTube. We're back. I'm tired. Forgive me. But the repairs must continue. So, allow me a few moments to go through my typical self promotion, and we'll get right into this. Alright, just about done here, guys. Appreciate all of the patience. Hey, Brian and Demi. Lovely to see you. Brian, I literally just got your message as I was going through and doing the promotion stuff. Yeah, it is 6.5. I just don't know if I know it's not exploitable, but that thing hasn't been updated in a while because it's year that it was updated, and then I believe month it was updated, and then the version. And then a bunch of numbers after that. So it was 2022 that it was last updated with 6.5. Maybe it's exploitable. I'm not 100% sure if it's based on the year or not, but it could be. Demi, good to see you, my friend. Don't worry, you got a little time. I'm gonna grab myself some caffeine because I'm fucking dying. I'm so tired. All right. Lovely to see you, beautiful faces. I apologize in advance that I'm a bit of a mess. It's been a day today. So, but the repairs don't stop for nobody. So we're still gonna get this worked. Let's kind of get stuff situated as best we can. All right. So before we actually tear down everything, I'll do a quick showing for content purposes of exactly what's going on, and we'll kind of move on from there. I've been trying to cut back on these shows, but the caffeine is absolutely necessary tonight. So, cheers to a lot of you. Alright, I'll probably give it about 3 or 4 minutes, let some people get in here. Thank you all for coming in, genuinely. I appreciate it. Any kind of support on these streams just makes doing them so much more fun. I'm going to do them regardless. I don't care if I was streaming for 0 people for a long time, so it's nice to have some people in here to at least conversate with, but the majority of the reason I do these streams is because a lot of this stuff, some of the stuff I've run into isn't on YouTube anywhere. Like this Wi-Fi thing, I've only found 1 video on it. So, let's do a video on it. Hell with it. Maybe we'll put some information out there. But also, it's fun. It's a lot of fun for me, and it gives me something to do on the weekends. Oh, you mean the PS5? You don't want it to update? Well, you can cancel the update. You can put it online without updating it. It may not have full functionality, but you should still be able to at least connect to the internet. Is it only 4.5? I thought it was I thought it was later than that. Oh yeah, it's only 4.5. Damn. Alright, yeah. Probably best to not do it then if you're trying to exploit it. Hell yeah. Respect. It's gonna be a good time. Alright, just another minute or two and we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm gonna do a quick demonstration of what exactly is going on just so people are aware of what's going on. Yeah, exactly, Demi. Yeah, this was always just a hobby. Like this was never. I do it as a business. Like I do HDMI repairs. I do component replacement and things like that. Yeah, I don't charge nearly as much as any of the chain stores or anything like that because I'm still learning. So it's a kind of getting off the ground business. But I'm proud of the work I do. Like, and I want to learn more about it. And that's what, again, a lot of this is kind of like documenting the journey and learning step by step how to do this kind of stuff. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It beats the 9 to 5 all the time. I love my 9 to 5 job. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be there if I didn't love it. But this is fun too. Might as well take the time I have on this planet to do fun things. This is fun for me. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the business. Kev, right now it's 75. So pretty much any port replacement, USB, HDMI, anything like that is 75 flat. That price I don't mind putting out because that's pretty much a flat fee for anything that I do. I appreciate you retracting the message, but it's fine. Certain other things have different levels of pricing, but that one's pretty flat. All right, let's go ahead and get down to the business. All right, so What I'm going to do is switch over screen so I won't see chat for a little while. But what we're going to do is we're going to turn the PS5 on. I think it might boot directly to safe mode. Let me not have it do that. Oh no, I took the USB out already. Okay. It might boot directly to safe mode, which in that case, we'll just put it to the main screen. Oh, no worries, Demi. That's fine. I mean, like I said, we're going to go through and kind of show everything that's happening just to make sure the content's out there. So you got some time. No worries, my friend. All right, I'm going to swap over. I won't see chat for a little bit, but I will answer back as soon as we're back. So let's get it going. One more. All right, so it's not going directly into safe mode. But it was doing this as well, where it takes a long time to get to the boot screen. Let's see if I can kind of move this over some. Like, it'll just sit here flashing blue for a little while, and then eventually you'll see this blue light on the screen come on, and it'll pop up on the screen. But it takes a long time to get there. Yep, see, there's the blue light. And now we're white. Oh. Oh, that's new. Okay. That's quite new. Alright. Well, it's done flashing. Oh, that's not the one that works. Okay. This is the one that works. There we go. Okay, so I have no choice but to try and update the system software. That's interesting. Okay. Well, let's try and... Well, I can at least show you what it does when it tries to update the software. Where did I put my USB drive? Oh, there it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop that in the back. Go. So that USB drive has the most recent PS5 update already installed on it. So let's go ahead and update system software. Update from the USB drive. Already connected. Alright. Go ahead and update. So it gets through this part just fine. It'll copy the update, no problem. So we're just going to let it run. Again, this is just for content purposes. I already know what's going to happen, although maybe I don't because that flashing screen was unusual. Yeah, and immediately something went wrong. So we're going to go ahead and shut it down. I'm going to see if I can get it to the main screen again, because I was at least able to get it there before. No, I'm just going to keep booting directly to safe mode. Let's take out the drive. I want to try and get it to boot to the main screen again, although maybe with these update fails, maybe it's just not recognizing that there's even an original drive on here. Yeah, it's just going straight to safe mode. And it also does 3 beeps when I push the power button while it's on. I really should have looked that part up as well. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, and see, now it's just booting up to safe mode every single time. Very interesting. All right, I'm gonna try and boot it a couple more times to see if it will load up. But I think with all the failed updates, it may have corrupted something. Yeah, see, it's just going right to safe mode. All right. Try it one more time and then we'll switch back and we'll start doing some other testing. Let's give it a full 10-15 seconds to shut down. Yep, and then just straight to safe mode. Okay. Alright. And no change, I'm assuming? Yeah, no change. Okay. Alright. So let's go ahead and shut it down. Let's go ahead and pop this out. Okay, let me catch up on chat real quick. Yeah, Brian Kev is right. It's always preferable to have it laying flat because the liquid metal has a tendency to pool on one side of the heatsink and one side of the APU as well, so it can cause issues with oxidation on the APU and the heatsink itself, which will then cause the liquid metal to not bond correctly to it. But I mean, in a very realistic sense, unless it's running 24 hours a day and you're being rough with it and knocking it around, it's not going to be a huge deal. But yes, it is always recommended to keep it flat if you can. Alright. So, let's get down to this and find out why the heck it don't work. So if you guys will, I mean, some of you guys were here, but for those of you that were not here, this originally was purchased as a no power issue. And after a bunch of testing, we swapped out a power supply, we checked voltages, excuse me. I mean, we did a full gamut of tests. It was thanks to Demi, actually, that he decided, he made the suggestion to reflow the south bridge. And he was right on the money. They powered on perfectly once we reflowed the south bridge. And I was already tired that night, so I said I would test it in the morning, and I would update you guys if I ran into any other problems. And I did. I ran into other problems. So, now we are taking it back apart. This is also an EDM 031 board, which looks a lot like the newer digital boards. Just the disc version of them. But it was also my first time working on one of those boards. So, it was a mess all the way around. And now it's an even bigger mess. So we're going to go ahead and get this torn apart. And we're going to do some more in-depth testing. Now that we have power to it, we can look in specific areas on the board and check for specific readings, things along those lines, and see where we can go from there. Where'd my screwdriver go? Sorry guys, like I said, I am so very tired. I was up at probably like 5:30, 5:45 this morning, and I've just been going all day. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it'll draw down. It pulls towards the lower part of the heat sink, but it doesn't like spill over onto the board unless you're like shaking it or knocking it around or something like that. It will pool and it will cause oxidation, which makes it harder for the liquid metal to bond to the APU, which doesn't keep it cool properly, which can cause problems. But I mean, you got to handle it pretty roughly for it to like leak out onto the board, or you got to touch the sponge or something like that. It's always preferable, if you can, to keep it horizontal. Now I will put this here. Let me drop this down a little bit. There we go. You can kind of see what I'm doing. I will put it back up on the table in just a minute here. It's just easier for me to do it in my lap to start off with, so you guys get a nice view of my lap. Enjoy it. One, two more screws to get the top plate off, and then all the fun screws. All right. All right. And pop it off. Boop. Alright, so if you haven't seen the EDM 031 boards, let me make sure you guys can see okay. This is what they look like. So you'll see that the cord that runs from the disk drive in the old EDM 10 and 20s would be on the outside of the plastic cover and would come over here. This one has it underneath. It actually rests near the top of the heatsink. And then this one also went back to the 4 Wi-Fi and Bluetooth cords. And you'll notice that the board itself does not extend way out over here. The board stops way out here, so it's a much smaller board as well. All right, there we go. Let's pop the ribbon cable out. There we go. And we'll just take the whole assembly off, like so. All right, let's go ahead and move it over to the desk for the fun times. All right, that's enough of my crotch, I think. All right, so let's get you guys in here a little bit. Disconnect the LED ribbon cable and the power button ribbon cable. And get that ribbon cable as well. And I actually didn't put it back together fully last time, so I'm kind of glad that we're getting to do this again so I can finish putting it back together properly. Let's go ahead and pop off these Wi-Fi and Bluetooth cables. All right. And pop. And come on. And pop. There we go. Yeah, I've done disk drive repairs before. Just depends on what needs to be done with them. A lot of the times when it's just not reading disk, it's a laser replacement, simple stuff like that. Sometimes the gears need to be changed out. But yeah, I've done repairs on them before. Alright, so once we get it down to the board level, I think the first thing I'm going to do is plug it back in, hook it up, and turn it on. And I'll hit the board with the thermal camera and just see. Not taking it in is usually either a gear issue or the feeder rails on there are usually sticky and gummy. Yeah, it's usually going to be either a mechanism inside the drive itself or the feeder rails inside of it need a good cleaning. Just to be clear, it is plugged in, right? You'd be surprised. But, I mean, if the wire is not connected, it's not going to take the disc in. Oh, that's fine. I'll grab that in a minute. Just a couple more. Yeah, the one good thing about this board, I mentioned it last time, but there are so many less screws on this board. There we go. Okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and remove this. Oh, I missed a screw. There we go. Alright, there we go. Okay, so the area that we worked on last time, let's see if we can find it here. Alright, so it's on the back side of this. No, I missed some flux, not a huge deal. Alright, so let me see if I can get it up here on the highest point of the microscope. Make it a little easier. All right, that's kind of in the realm of what I'm looking for. All right, so we worked on the opposite side of the board last time in this area right here. This is the Southbridge area. We reflowed this area completely, and we were able to get power. However, now that we've got power, we are not getting Wi-Fi, and now I can't even get it to boot to the main screen, so it won't even take an update anymore. So that leads me to one of three things. My initial suspect was one of the SSDs. I talked it over with my good buddy Demi in the chat here, and he made a good point that the Wi-Fi card, which is underneath this area over here, where this Wi-Fi and Bluetooth Connect runs, could also be the cause of it not taking an update, and would also explain the no Wi-Fi issue. And then also the RAM is a possibility. So I think the way to start out is to plug it in and turn it on and check to see what areas get hot. I know the Southbridge area is going to get hot. I know the APU area is going to get hot. I know there's a chip over here that gets hot as a power regulator, things like that. You guys really can't see 100% of what I'm showing you, but I promise it's there. So I think that's going to be our first step. So let's go ahead and bring it back over here. Nope. I also forgot to remove the bottom plate. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and let's bring you guys in a little bit here. Let's grab the trusty thermal camera. All right, so let's plug it in. While I'm doing that, let's also plug in the LED ribbon cable so I can see what it's doing. Okay. Alright, so let's turn on the thermal camera. Bada bing. Eventually I'll get one that actually connects to the streaming setup, but for right now, this is what we're dealing with. Alright, so as you can kind of see well, you can't really see. Yeah, the screen's kind of crappy, huh? Eh. Well, let's see if it'll flare up anything, shall we? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and turn it on. Oh, yeah, the power button has to be plugged in too. Yeah, that would help. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? Alright, so I'm going to try and bring you guys in a little bit here. Alright, there we go. So, we can see the RAM's getting hot. You can see those kind of lighting up. You almost kind of saw it, kind of right there. And oh, hello, hotspot. Alternate hotspot. Yeah, there's a big old hotspot right over here. Right in this little area of capacitors. Okay, so you can kind of see based on the reflection right there that there is a bit of a hotspot central in this area over here. Let's check over by the Alright, so as far as the Wi-Fi area goes, there doesn't appear to be anything super hot. I'm just kind of scanning the rest of the board. Yeah, Southbridge is somewhat warm, but this area right here I'm concerned about, which happens to be right at the SSD controller on the other side of the board. Alright. I'm going to shut that off for a moment. I'm going to shut this down. That time it didn't beep 3 times. What the hell was that about? Hang on. All right. Let's turn it back on real quick. Let's swap over. Yeah, no, it's still going straight to safe mode. And yeah, that SSD controller area is getting super, super hot. I'm almost positive that's the SSD controller. Hang on. There's another area that's catching some heat. This whole area right here, it's getting quite hot. Alright, let me come over to the South Bridge. Yeah, the SSD controller is hotter than the South Bridge, which I don't feel like is correct. Let's take a look. RAM chips. one area around the back of the HDMI system that's getting somewhat warm. Alright, so I have a few places to look now. Alright, let's shut this down. It's weird that I'm not getting that 3 beeps now. That's very strange. Oh, yeah, good call. Thanks, Demi. Alright, so let's get this unplugged and let's take the board out. Go. All right, so let's remove the APU clamps. Take off the ribbon cables. And let's pop this board out. Oh, there's a screw keeping the board in. Are there 2 screws keeping the board in? No. Okay. Alright. So, let's pop back under the microscope. Move this over to the side. Okay. Alright, so the area of the board that was getting hot was around here. So if we flip back over to where we had it previously, so it's plugged in just like this, and it was this area that was getting hot. So let's do some testing around that area, see if we can find any shorts or anything. Okay. So I've got my multimeter here. I will test around the Wi-Fi area as well. But the fact that it's not even detecting that there was an original operating system on here is really leading me to believe this is an SSD issue. Alright, so we are currently in resistance mode or ohms mode. Alright, so let's check some of these fuses around this area here. So fuse is good. Well, I don't know that that's a fuse. Could be a resistor. Now let's check if it's a resistor. It looks like a fuse though. Let's see if it's a resistor. Alright, so yeah, this looks like a resistor. I've got 0.89 kilo ohms. And over here, I've got 0.82 kilo ohms. Alright, let me grab a donor board. Hello, donor board. And let's see what those components read on the donor board. Alright, so I've got 0.66 on the donor board and 0.73. So those are both high. Not terribly, but they are high. I'm going to keep this donor board nearby so we can check stuff. Alright, I also can't tell what the hell that chip says. Let me see if I can wipe it down a little bit. Lost my alcohol. There we go. Alright. Let's see if we can't wipe that little chip right there and see what we can find out about it. Drop the... There we go. Alright, so we've got a... Looks like a Nanya 2230. Not sure what that is. Let's try and find out, shall we? Nanya 2230. Yep, can't even find anything online about it. Okay, interesting. Alright, well, we know that the reading is higher from there. So, let's continue getting some readings and see what we can find out. So, let's test this one over here. Alright, this one's giving me 0.84 kilo ohms. And move this. That same one on the donor board is giving me 0.844. Okay, so that one is reading normally, at least compared to the donor board. Right. So what I'm immediately thinking is perhaps to reflow the SSD controller. I can replace it. I have another, but that's a lot of reballing and not really what I wanted to do. Let's check the Wi-Fi IC as well, just to make sure. So let's check some of the components around here. Alright, so the caps are reading good. I've done this a long time ago. Alright, so caps are reading good. Let's flip the board over real quick and just double check the back area of the Wi-Fi. Alright. I need a ground point. None of the caps back here are shorted. There's a lot of flux that I still need to clean up, but cap-wise, there's no shorted caps. I think that's a fuse that's in line with that cap right there. Maybe not. Maybe it's a resistor. I can't tell the resistors and the fucking fuses on this thing. Let's see. Is it a resistor? If it is, it's a fucking weird one. I've got 1 point. It's dropping like crazy, honestly. Sorry, this. If it is a resistor, it is wildly fluctuating. Yeah, it's finally starting to settle. There we go. So I'm at 5.7374-ish kilo ohms. Yeah, okay, that's just me not reading it correctly. So that's around 5.7 kilo ohms. Let me find that same one on the donor board. There we go. Yeah, this one's only reading 4.89 on the donor board. Yeah, no, I wasn't reading the cap. I'm reading it's a small... Oh, you're saying this is a cap as well? This small little one right here? Man, it doesn't look like it. It looks like it has a different color and everything. Let me get it closer here, hang on. It might be. It damn well might be. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, how about that? Okay. Well, that cap has a resistance of 4.7 kilo ohms. Let's see. Same thing. We're gonna. This one's 45. Swap them around. Yeah. So that's 5.7 right there. I really do gotta clean up this flux at some point. Yeah, okay. Alright, so that is a cap then, which means there's nothing wrong with that cap. Alright, let's move over to my area of concern now, which is the SSD controller. Let's back up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, and it'll be short because it'll read ground on both ends in continuity mode, and it did not do that. So, all right, let's take a look around this SSD controller and see if we can find anything that juts out right away. Make sure we're in the right area. Yep. Okay. So, I mean, there is some discoloration on some of these caps, but that could just be how they're designed. I learned that the hard way. Let's go ahead and just test some of the capacitors around there. Give me a ground point. Oh, I'm still in resistance mode. Oh, okay. Alright, so we do have a short here, unless that's just low impedance. Oh, never mind. Now it doesn't want to show up short. Interesting. Alright, let's try this again. Okay. Nope, just didn't want to show up. Okay. Okay. Right. Just making sure none of these are fuses. Alright, those all appear to be resistors. Alright. Yeah, I suppose that's right, Demi, and I did think about that it was because it did copy most of it, and then it just wouldn't take it anymore. So I'm assuming it probably could have corrupted the information that was on there. I just don't know how I would. I mean, I suppose I can still lift the shield on the Wi-Fi and check to see if there's any shorts in there. But the SSD controller was getting quite hot under power. Right, no, and I agree with you on that. It just because safe mode is coming up doesn't mean that it's for sure SSD. But the SSD controller itself was getting very hot on that area of the board. Like hotter than the South Bridge hot. Yeah, I'm not finding any shorts. Oh, and here's the other shitty part. These are different SSD cards. So if it is a blown SSD, I can't even replace it. Totally different card. All right, let me check these resistors, and then we'll swap over, and we'll take the shield off the Wi-Fi module, and we'll do some testing around there. And that's another good point. If it did wipe the original OS on there, and I can't get another one on there, oh, I guess it would just boot from the USB drive. Okay, never mind. Answered my own question. All right, so let's take a look. All right, I've got 120 ohms coming onto there. Yep, same thing here. That's almost 1 kilo ohm. That is 1 kilo ohm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not finding anything on the bottom of the SSD that would tell me it's not working. Alright, let's take a look at the Wi-Fi, shall we? Let's take that heat shield off, or the electromagnetic shield. And let's take a look and see what we got. and for the fuck of it, just to indulge my curiosity. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to check the CMOS battery, make sure that was still good. Alright, let's go ahead and get some heat going. Oh, I got you, Demi. Okay. Yeah, that would make sense. Alright. Let's go ahead and lift this heat shield off the Wi-Fi area. And let's take a look at the actual card inside. Let's get the flux down. Okay. Alright, so now we're into the actual meat of the Wi-Fi controller. Burned myself a bit there. We're gonna get some of that flux up and then do some testing inside this card area. Alright, now I know from the videos I've seen that this main chip is replaceable. However, I also know that it's a pain in the butt to get off. So sometimes it's easier to just reball the whole card. But if I can get that main chip off, if I find, something wrong with it, then I may be able to just replace that chip instead of reballing the whole card. So let's get a little alcohol in here. Clean up some of that flux. Let's dig in a little deeper here, shall we? Alright, so that MediaTek is the main chip on this Wi-Fi card. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all in one, I believe. Alright, so let's grab the multimeter. Let's see if we can do some testing, maybe find a short in here somewhere. Actually, Demi, is it just me? Or that looks a little fucked up. That looks a little fucked up, right? Both of those look a little rough. Let's see if we can maybe get a better look at that. Let me bring this in a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, that filter is like, I'm pretty sure that's some kind of filter. And that's like almost touching those capacitors. It also looks burnt to hell. Yeah, you see how it kind of looks burnt in the middle there? Let's see if I can try to clean that up a little bit. Am I out of Q-tips? Gotta open a fresh pack. All right. Let's see. Get these damn Q-tips open. There we go.